Calgary. Welcome to the Weekly Dump.
Happy Hump Day, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Weekly Dump. My name is Kevin, one of your KCCO Calgary admins. Where are we here? There we go. And once again, I forgot to turn off my sound. There we go. So you're not supposed to be able to hear me all over the place. So how you doing? Thank you for joining us. Like I said, my name is Kevin, one of your KCCO Calgary admins, and do I have a story for you? And a lot of news. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been on, so a few things to update you on, like RAKIt Week, and giving you an update on what's going on with that. But first, as I have the last couple of weeks, all I have is water here. I think I actually need to go and make myself a drink. So I'm going to take you along for the journey. So I am going to just put you on hold while I head downstairs and we will make a drink together. So hang on. I'll be right back within probably about 30 seconds. So cheers. We will see you shortly. All right. Well, welcome to my kitchen. And we are going to make a very simple drink because I have lots to tell you and I need to get back upstairs and tell it to you. So today we're actually going to be making what's called an orange Analyst. And it's made with triple sec, vodka, we're going with Sky vodka today, orange juice, and topping it up with a bit of club soda. So first things first is we need to get some ice. So I'm just going to head over, get some ice, be right here. And I think I should have made more ice. So I'm going to be filling this. And this is too small. So we'll be cracking open the ice cube trays and filling these up with full ice cubes. There we go. Some a little bit later for drink number 2. So the recipe, have to pull this out because I want to make sure I do it in the right order. So yeah, it's called an orange Analyst. It says this cocktail is a simpler version highball drink that omits the carrot juice in favor of embracing all things orange. So what it involves is some vodka. So let's get this all poured in first. It says 1 ounce of vodka. And there's 1 ounce. And 1 ounce of triple sec. And why don't you tell me what you're having to keep cool tonight on this hot summer evening? And one more. One more ounce of orange juice. There we go, orange juice. Now we get to have some fun and shake it up. So there we go. So Yeah, it says fill the shaker with ice, add vodka, triple sec, and orange juice, and stir well. And that is getting very cold, so I think that might be shaken up. And it said to pour into a large wine glass, but instead I'm gonna be fancy and pour it into, I don't know if you call it a martini glass, but it looks fancy. All right, and then it says to top it with soda water. But before I do that, they said to also garnish it with an orange wheel. So I'm just going to cut a quick orange wheel here. And it's looking like I haven't. There we go. Looks like part of that orange actually turned a little rotten, so we're not going to use that. So cut the rind, then top this up with a little soda water, club soda. And then we will garnish it with an orange wheel. Right. Wipe my hands here. And there we go. So cheers to you. Happy hump day. Now let's have a toast and have a sip and see what this tastes like. Ooh, that's good. That's very orangey. So, all right, now that I have a drink, we have to head back upstairs so that we can continue on catching you up. So, see you back upstairs right away. All right, and here we are back. Thank you for joining me. Thank you to all the veterans, all the newbies out there as well. And for those that are relatively new and hasn't joined for a while, that's what I've been doing the last little while, is starting off with a drink. And the previous drinks that we've made include like a Calgary Mule, a cherry cola, and a Canadian Gulp. And they have all been so tasty and definitely expanding my repertoire of drinks that I can make. So yeah, this was an orange Analyst, and would love for you to give it a try if you are interested. So, cheers. And I had to walk very slowly up the stairs because this glass was kind of full. And just want to say a quick hello to people who have joined us. I want to say hello to Mr. Villeneuve. Thanks for joining. And I see Lawrence out there. How are you guys doing down there? Are you keeping nice and cool? What kind of temperatures are you having down there? And then Mr. Ken. Thanks for joining, Ken. Good thing that you joined today. I'm glad that you did. And you'll be very, I'm not surprised, but be happy with something. So let's do a quick wrap up of RAKIt Week. So let's hop on over to RAKIt Week. So it happened from July 25th to the 31st. And once again, we used the Jewelbug app again, as it was such a good success last year. There were a number of chapters involved, and KCCO Calgary held up a respectable 18th position amongst all of Chive Nation. So what they had done is you actually logged all of your racks that you did throughout the week, and they actually had challenges as well. So, and for each one that you did, you got a certain number of points. And each chapter together as a collective gathered points, and each person as an individual gathered points as well. And our top point getter for KCCO Calgary was Amber. And she ended up, what was that? I just have it written down here. She ended up 53rd overall in Chive Nation. So she did a great job. So kudos to you, Amber. Cheers. And we've already had our look back meeting of it. And we're going to be changing up some of the things that we're going to be doing and doing a lot more earlier planning. So if you want to get a sneak peek to the RAKIt Week activities, come join our team and help us plan and make good to our community and be kind to everyone here. So one additional thing that KCCO Calgary did a blood drive during Wednesday to Saturday of RAKIt Week. We encourage people to go out and donate. And taking a look at, we actually had this to encourage people to go and rack by giving the gift of life. But as you can see here, Mr. Ken, thank you for joining, Ken. Wanted to show you this, showing that Ken gave the gift of life and making his 19th donation, which is awesome. So good job, brother. Keep it up. And if you didn't have time last week to go and make a donation, please consider going and making a donation now. Make an appointment through blood.ca or go and use the Blood app and schedule something there. So, next up, remember this little event that we did back in June? It was called the Get Off Your Ass. There we go. Get Off Your Ass fundraiser. We were raising money for CPAWS, or the Canadian Parks and Wilderness Society. They do a lot of great work, and we decided to raise some money for them. So it was a long time coming. However, we were finally able to make our schedules meet, and we did the check presentation. Hey, that wasn't supposed to go like that. There we go. So we'll do that. So this is Jacqueline, and she's accepting the donation on behalf of CPAWS. And she thanked KCCO Calgary for choosing CPAWS, as there are a lot of charities out there that we could donate to. So she appreciated the time and effort that we did. And we ended up donating to a total of $500 to CPAWS. So thank you to everyone who did participate and helped raise money for this. Some of this money was actually raised through our Cans for Charity campaign, as we were able to top it off from the fundraiser itself and just make it a nice even $500. So if you are interested in helping out in further events, definitely get back to me and let's get you involved so that we can make the world 10% happier. And of course, we had to show that we actually got off our ass and showed our ass as well. So the way the fundraiser worked was the actual purchase of the swag was the fundraiser for it. So Yeah, there we go. We had some swag there that we showed off, and had a few people go out and purchase some. So great. Thank you so much for participating. All right. And now for the fun part. Now, if I can only get my graphics all in the right order, then we would be great. So, now, there we go. Lost in the Kananaskis. So, yes, it's true. Yours truly actually went out to enjoy the a nice long weekend with my parents and my sister and her husband, and enjoyed going camping to Bolton Creek. And Bolton Creek, it's such a beautiful place. It has a great campground, and yeah, and actually, I'm just going to read off my notes here because I wrote it down because it's quite an adventure and I don't want to miss out on any of the details. So yeah, I went for a nice relaxing weekend with my parents and sister and her husband to Bolton Creek Campground in the Kananaskis. So then on Sunday, I decided to go for a walk, just sort of down to the store, check it out and see what the whole campground was like. Bolton Creek Campground in the Peterloughy Provincial Park. Such great views. So on Sunday, yeah, went for a walk, not a hike, meaning I didn't have a water bottle, didn't have a backpack, didn't have hiking boots, didn't have a knife, nothing, like not your traditional hike. And I went just to explore the Bolton Creek campground, which was just a bunch of different loops. So I walked down the road and went to the store, and the whole campground, it's so far and deep in the Kananaskis that there's no cellular service at all as well. But little did I know what an adventure I was going to get into. I started my walk about 11 a.m. I walked down the road to the store, which was about a 15-minute walk downhill. I started my way back up the hill and noticed that there were some walking trails beside the road, so I decided to take the trail, thinking that the trail would sort of go through the various loops of the campground. And so that not traditionally, but campgrounds that I visit, there's usually trails that go from loop to loop to loop in the campground, so you can go and visit the different loops. So I decided to take those trails and go and take a look and see what these other loops looked like. And early in the weekend, I saw other people hiking off a trail near my camping loop in Loop D. So I figured that the trail should lead from loop to loop to loop, sort of thing. However, once I got on the one hiking trail, it decided to go, rather than bend around and go around the loop, it ended up bending and going a little bit and then going straight towards the mountains. So I thought it would just sort of go up and in behind and meet up with Loop D where I was camping. So I continued on the trail, which was pretty much maintained and very wide without any other trails deviating from this main trail. I ended up walking down several steep hills for quite some time. Then I ended up in a location where 3 trails met up. I looked at the map, and it was not clear to me as to which path to take, as the paths were not labeled. Funnily enough, they just had the hiking sign on it. which I found out afterwards from the conservation officer that they actually take down the names of the trails during the summer, as those trails are mainly used for cross-country skiing. So I guessed which path I should take and started wandering up another path. I walked up about 10 minutes and came across a couple of cyclists and asked how far it was to the campground up there. They told me I was going the wrong direction and told me to go back where the trails met and take the Whiskey Jack Trail back to the campground. So I turned around and got back to the map, took a look at it again, still confused as to what direction it was going. So I started down another trail, and I thought that was going to be Whiskey Jack, but as it turns out, it wasn't. It was that third trail which I hadn't taken before. And it was mostly downhill, which I thought was correct because the campground was actually at a lower elevation. So I continued down the path, and there were a few forks in the trail, so I continued down and followed the generic hiking trail signs until I came to a maintenance road which led to a creek of fast, cold running water. And this was by Highway 40, which will come into play later. I stopped to splash water in my face and cool off a bit. And by this time, I think it was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I thought I'd better keep going before it gets too dark and too cold. Did I mention a lot along the way? I saw a lot of black bear fur and poop on the trails. So black bear poop and black bear fur. So I continued down the trail until I hit an open meadow where I saw a hiking sign that was labeled Pocatera Trail, which was the third trail where the three that had met several hours ago. I wasn't sure the length of this trail, and of course the meadow was blazing hot with the sun, and with all the up and down, I was starting to get dehydrated and at this point some heat exhaustion. I continued on the trail thinking it would have to come to another road or highway or someplace where people could come to help me. I ended up climbing up several hills to get to a point where I ended up climbing up several hills and got to a point where I absolutely knew I was lost and thought I needed to turn around and backtrack to a known location where I could find traffic, the maintenance road by the highway, the Highway 40. So I turned around and started the trek back. One of the problems was I climbed downhill most of the way into this wide open meadow. So I had to climb up again. So once I got past the meadow, I had to lay down and rest and cool off in the grass. And I made sure there was no poison oak. Definitely made sure of that. As I was lying there, my mouth was so dried out, so I had to figure a way to get it moist again. And all the water around me that I was looking at, the creeks, the ponds and everything, it was all stagnant water, so I didn't want to put any of that into my mouth. So I was trying different breathing techniques that lo and behold ended up working. I would lay down on my side, breathe through my nose and out through my mouth forcefully, and the warm moisture from my lungs collected in my mouth. So that made me excited that I had found a way to moisten my mouth. And then I got up, and yes, I was suffering from heat stroke now. I was dizzy, disoriented, but knew I had to continue. I walked up the first stretch of the path and had to stop about 3 times to get my bearings and not to be dizzy. I got to the top of the steep hill and laid down again to breathe and to rest. I ended up having a nap, which was great because it gave my body a chance to cool down as the clouds started to come over. I woke up from my nap and saw it was about 6 p.m. and I needed to get going. I got up and felt a ton better after my body core temperature cooled off. I knew that my mission was now to make it back to the maintenance road and the creek with the cold running water by the highway. So I got up and had some energy back and started on my mission to the road. I knew once I got to the creek, I would be okay. So as I was walking, I kept my ears open for running water and also for bears, as it was supper time. For me at least, but hopefully not for them. I pushed myself to go up all of the paths, stopping only briefly for about 30 seconds at a time to catch my breath and to continue on. After that nap, I didn't lay down again to do my breathing technique. I knew I had to push and keep on going. I finally came to a familiar section, and I knew I had one more hill to climb up before hitting that creek that I had encountered before. And sure enough, my memory had served me well. I made it to the maintenance road, and that is where I breathed a sigh of relief. As I knew I was close to the highway, I could flag down someone for help. But more importantly, I was out of the forest with the bears. As I walked down the maintenance road, I could hear the creek running, and it was the most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. I knew I was going to be okay. So I went down to the creek, took my shoes and socks off as my feet were burning so bad. I placed them in the creek, and the water was ice cold, so I knew this water was okay to place in my mouth to rehydrate a bit. At least enough so that I could talk to a person that I had, when I waved somebody down from the road, so I could actually talk to them. I had a handkerchief with me and dipped it in the water, and I grabbed a whole bunch of water and squished it and had it go all over my head just to cool me off. Then I dipped it back, got as much water as I could into it, and then just put it to my mouth and started sucking all the water out of it. And boy, did that ever feel so good. It worked very well. Here I was standing in the middle of a creek with ice cold water running. My feet were frozen and me sucking on a rag. Oh, what a sight that was. So after I was hydrated enough, I now had to get up to the road and flag a car down. So I went to the shore, got my shoes, socks, and hat, and thought it was okay for me to cross the creek as it wasn't that deep at all. So as I walked across the creek, I lost my balance and was trying to regain it. However, the shoes and socks I had in my hand dipped into the water and got soaked. So I threw them onto the shore on the other side, regained my balance, and made my way to the other side. So after looking at my shoes, I knew I couldn't put wet socks on. So I sat on the other side that I wanted to get to on the rocks there, put my runners out to let them dry out for a bit. And while that was happening, I went back to the creek to hydrate some more. After a couple minutes of air drying, I put my runners back on without the socks and started walking up the road to the highway. As I got up to the highway, I was looking on my phone and trying to get my bearings as to which direction the campground was from where I was located, as GPS still worked, but just not the cell service. So I heard a vehicle approaching, so I started waving them down with wet socks in my hand and waving them down, and they pulled over and were gracious enough to help me get back to the campground. And for those that were interested, the vehicle that stopped me was a BMW M5. So I got back in a hurry. The guy driving, Doug, and his girlfriend, liked to flex his M5 to his other friends. So I got back to the campground, and Doug opened up his sunroof, and I popped my head up and said, as I approached my site, "Did you miss me?" And this was around 7 p.m. My family, they were all so worried They had got the campground staff involved and got the conservation officer as well. They were searching the entire campground. When I arrived, my brother-in-law went and located the campground staff at the store to let them know I had returned. And shortly after, the conservation officer came by and got my statement for his report. I told them how I'd made a wrong turn and got lost on the trails as they were not labeled well at all. And that is when I'd found out that they take the trail names down for the summer. So, what did I learn from all of this? I don't have to walk for 3 days, as I amassed a total of 32,000 steps in one single day. As part of the Chive mantra goes, keep calm and chive on. I made sure that I didn't panic, stayed calm, and made sure my wits were about me for this whole adventure. I made sure to wear easily identifiable clothing. And as you know, I am a huge chiver. So I have a huge closet of chive gear that I wear. So my mom knew that I had a chive shirt on that day. And a walk for 7 hours is a really good way to lose some COVID weight. And the last thing I learned, don't go for walks alone, especially in the backcountry of the Kananaskis with black bears. So, thanks for letting me share my adventure with you. It was very interesting and tiring and exhausting, but I did make it out and made it out alive and am totally recovered now and have so much to be thankful for. So, thank you for taking the time to hang out and listen to that story. And if you were interested, let me just go over to here. The yellow line is the path that I ended up hiking. So I started out at the campground and sort of went to the right, and then went straight up, and then went straight down, and then that little Highway 40 is that black line on the far right side. So that little black section, or yellow highlighted section, that led to the highway. So ended up going all the way up and over. And in more perspective, this is what I ended up from the green dot all the way up to the top, and then all the way down to the bottom to over to Highway 40, and then got into a car and had them drive me all the way back to my campground. So it was quite, like I said, quite an adventure, and learned how to look after myself and be calm in a stressful situation like that. A few people that I've talked to since then said they would have been freaking out and had no idea what to do. So just being calm about the whole thing, like our mantra says, keep calm and chive on. I knew exactly what I had to do, and I knew it was just going to take me some time. So, all right. Now, as I'm getting ready, now we can head on over to boom. Sending out some birthday wishes. There are no birthdays this upcoming week, but we did miss one a couple weeks ago, or last week, because I had other things and wasn't able to stream last week. But it was Devin's birthday last week, so I want to wish a happy belated birthday to Devin. So, cheers and happy birthday, Devin. Belated birthday, that is. And from that, let's go and check out what's going on with Chive Nation. Let's see what they have been getting up to. All right, as always, make sure you head on over to the Chive website. And on the Chive website, we now have a tab for Chive Nation. And you can head on over and there we go. I unmuted myself. So you have a map of all the different Chive Nation chapters. So once again, once we did our RAK week, and look at all the different chapters that we had that we have in Chive Nation. So coming 18th out of all of those, I think, is pretty respectable. So let's head on over to the Chive Nation events and see what's coming up. Okay, here we have Tampa Bay Chive. They're having a silent auction for Paisley Ray, and that is actually ongoing right now, doing it July 30th to August the 6th. They've joined forces with Central Florida Chive, Emerald Coast Chive, and First Coast Chive to answer the call from Chive Charities to help one of their own Florida residents. So they're holding a silent auction, and she's a 4-year for Paisley Ray, who is a 4-year-old full of laughs, smiles, and sass. She's one of 3,000 worldwide with no prognosis. She's a nonverbal and non-mobile. So if you are interested and going to donate, there is a link to their GoFundMe and to their auction that I will place after the stream. Next up, fantasy football. How many of you are into fantasy football leagues? So we have Lone Star Chivers. So if you're interested in joining the Chive Nation Fantasy Football for 2021, head on over and get yourself registered there. Next up, St. Louis Chive's School Supply Drive to support Mrs. Linder's classroom. And that is going from today until August 21st. This year we have adopted Mrs. Linder's 8th grade math classroom at Gateway Science Academy Middle and High School. Here is a link to the Amazon wish list. However, her students still need the basics as well: notebook, paper, folders, pencils, pens, etc. And there's a link to the wish list there. Next up, Michigan Chivers having their Camp Out 2.0 coming up this weekend. Oh, looks like it's going to be a nice weekend for it. So, come and join the Michigan Chivers in the 2nd annual Michigan Chive Camp Out. This year we'll be camping near Traverse City at Interlochen State Park. It's a family and kid-friendly event, and the cost will only be $10 per person for the weekend. It's a pretty good deal. There will be a Saturday morning brunch along with a cornhole and all the outdoor games and activities to go along with everything the Traverse City area has to offer. So if you're interested, go and check it out and sign up and register if you happen to be in that area. Right, next, Lone Star Chivers are doing a street cleanup, keeping Austin beautiful. So join the Lone Star Chive for the quarterly street cleanup. They have a dedicated section of Congress Avenue. They have all the supplies needed, just need the body power or the people to help keep Austin beautiful. So if you're in the Austin area, head on over to their event page and get the information and sign up. And coming up on Monday, August the 9th, the Chive Virginia Happy Hour and Harry Potter Trivia. So it's going to be an evening for a game of trivia and then have some time to catch up. The month's theme will be Harry Potter themed notebook details. So $5 a person gets you in. Proceeds will benefit Chive charities. Winner will get to choose a prize from the Chive Virginia prize box. So that, in a nutshell, is a bit of a catch-up for you about what's going on in Chive Nation, the RAKIt Week wrap-up, as well as the Cheque Presentation to CPAWS, and a little bit of an adventure that I had. So, do appreciate you sticking with me and watching to the very end. Do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. Do love hearing from you about what you would like to see on this update that we do on a weekly basis, and what kind of events, as things are starting to open up here, what kind of events would you like to participate in, and what would you like to see opening up, and not opening up, but what would you like to see us do? I know we're looking at getting together, but just trying to figure out the time and place. Everyone's on summer holidays now, so it may look like it may be a fall type of event where we can all get together and see each other's beautiful faces once again. So I do appreciate you once again for stopping by. So thank you so much. So cheers to you, and I just need another drink because I've been talking way too much and not drinking enough. So let me know in the comments what you are drinking and sipping on tonight. All right. And from that, I believe that is all that I have for tonight. So I do appreciate you so much. Thank you for your support of KCCO Calgary. We love making the world 10% happier. And if you like what we're doing, definitely share this with your friends and family and tell them what awesome work Chivers do in our community. We would love to see you out at our events and help make the world 10% happier. So there won't be a stream next week, as I am actually going camping back to the same place I got lost, but this time I promise I will not get lost again. But I'm going out for an entire week and having a week vacation, and I don't have any cell service there, so I won't be able to put on the weekly dump. So I will see you 2 weeks from today, and we'll have a bunch of stories to tell you then. So cheers. Cheers and chive on.